All right, we're back. Jose Otero here with Brian Altano, Per Schneider.
What's up?
And guys, E3 is next week.
Yeah.
Tuesday is Nintendo's digital event.
Yeah.
We have streams from Treehouse happening all day and a bunch of other... And the Smash Invitational, oh my God, which I'm not going to get to see. And I am so sour about... I'm going to be working, man. Like, you guys aren't going to let me disappear to go watch the Smash Invitational.
But maybe somebody will record it and you can watch it. We live in a digital age, Jose.
Yeah,
you
keep
can
it
relive it. Wait.
I want to be there when it happens, man.
As a proponent of live streaming versus live events, you should be happy that you can't watch it live.
So we could have no Nintendo news stories on IGN, and we could just have a picture of you at the Smash Invitational.
Yeah, that's a better.
Be back soon.
I'll be reaction guy number 5.
When you go to lunch at a small restaurant and there's a sign on the wall that says, like, we'll be back in a half an hour.
Yeah.
The good news is there's a lot of stuff to watch for people at home. And, I mean, I will say one thing. Definitely swing by IGN and watch stuff. You know, right before that Nintendo stream goes down, come to IGN.
Or watch it on IGN.
Hang out on our stream.
So, real quick for folks, you can watch the Nintendo Digital event on IGN.
Can we say that?
Yes, we have been saying that. And you definitely want to stick around for the post-show. We have a special guest, which is all we could say. That's it.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, we'll talk later.
Am I still on it?
No, I don't know, actually.
Hey!
There's something happening. You're the special guest?
I was one of them.
So not a lame special guest like Brian, a real special guest.
Yeah, we got real Diddy Kong. He's gonna...
Yeah, please join. You will be happy. It'll be awesome.
All right, so digital event, it's here. It's not a Nintendo Direct from what we can tell, right? It's going to be something different. Even their last few Nintendo Directs have been different, weird, dare I say, I don't know, a little more jokey than usual even, right? So... Here we are. What do we expect from Nintendo at E3? We can drop predictions in here. But before we do, let's talk about let's go through categories. On the hardware front, should we expect anything from Nintendo this year?
I think so. I still think there's a redesign. Not a new console, but I still think there is going to be a redesigned version of something, or at least a repackaged version of something, right? Like the Wii U momentum is here now with the Mario Kart bundle, so maybe not a repackaged version of that, but the 3DS, it's been a while since we've heard anything about a new special edition or a new package or something.
I'm going to be surprised if Smash Brothers gets a special 3DS SKU.
That would make total sense. Something like that is a shoo-in, but we'll see.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
I also think, in line with you, I think the gamepad does need a redesign. And I'm not saying that to be overly negative about the gamepad, because I think some folks have interpreted that on this podcast. I just think that, we have talked plenty of times of how it's not getting utilized properly, but I do think it is in Nintendo's best interest to help keep costs down, to make that thing smaller, to eventually work in the games, but extend that battery life. You have a battery that you're selling for $40. It comes out to roughly $40 with shipping that extends the battery life to 5 to 8 hours, and that doesn't come as a standard option. Like that, it lasts for 2 to 3 hours, and it's a bummer. Like that needs to get fixed. But I only think on the Wii U front we'll see that stuff. I think it'll just be, as far as hardware goes, I would put the chips on a Smash Brothers related 3DS SKU if they announce that at E3, because it's a summer game.
I've said this before. Nintendo is the crazy toy maker. I would be so surprised if there's no hardware.
Yeah,
in some fashion.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was every time I think everything's going well, I understand everything they're doing. Like Jose and I get whisked away to Nintendo, and Reggie pulls a 2DS out of his pocket,
and it's right here.
What the hell?
Yeah.
The 3DS Micro.
Yeah, maybe we'll get a 2DS XL. Who knows? Well, I agree with what you said about the Smash hardware. I think that I don't know right now how that game's going to play on the 3DS. I think it will play fine, but fine's not really what Smash Brothers fans want, and Nintendo is acknowledging that with the GameCube adapter for Wii U. So we'll see a redesigned Smash, or like a Smash 2DS or something like that.
Purple 3DS that looks like the GameCube controller.
That's a great idea.
Tomodachi Collection got a special 2DS, dude, and that thing is selling at most places for $100 when it's on sale, by the way, which is smart.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Got to work on that.
And I like the idea of a newly designed gamepad. I'm one of the people that actually likes the gamepad. I use it mostly for off TV play. I agree with the battery life. Most of my predictions are just agreeing with you guys.
Yeah, that's fine. That's good. Are we doing predictions, or are we just talking?
We'll get into it. Let's just talk about stuff for now.
Yeah.
So if you have anything,
I think that would be my general sort of hardware prediction. I think we're going to see a lot more on the figurine stuff, obviously.
Yes.
And probably a crack at whatever they're doing for their quality of life stuff. And I don't know what that's going to mean exactly, if that's going to be some sort of...
So you think quality of life will show up at E3?
Yes, I absolutely think so.
Okay, I don't think that.
I totally
don't think so either.
I think there's going to be about like 55 minutes to get dedicated to hardcore gamers. I think Nintendo's going to try to kind of win that group back. But I think there's going to be a few minutes for the New York Times and the Wall Street Post and stuff.
That's
like
why
that,
I think the quality of life stuff will be separate and not from like. I actually think it's going to come later in the year. Where they want to have announcements throughout the year too to get their shareholders excited.
And it's just considering their position. Oh, sorry. Let me let you finish before.
I think this show is going to focus on a couple of things. I think it'll be a modest show. I don't think it's going to be the crazy show where every franchise is going to get a reboot.
No.
I don't think this is a show where people are going to go crazy for a new Star Fox and a new, Zelda,
what about
Metroid, Car Fox, all those games. I think we will get enough stuff for everybody to be happy and to be excited. But I do think it'll be a modest show, and I think the quality of life stuff is going to be later in the year.
And I don't think the quality of life show stuff would be there because if you look at Nintendo's position right now, right, where they are struggling to get a lot of games on Wii U, at least presently, what's on the calendar hasn't been enough through most of the past year and a half, right? Where we'll be like, oh yeah, we have a huge launch window, and then there's just a trickle of games. And how long do we have to wait for Mario Kart? I mean, good God, what were folks doing?
Yeah.
Like with their Wii U's, for example. I just think if you only have a certain number of games to show at E3 and to talk about, I think that showing something like quality of life might scare folks and say, oh my God, they're getting away from video games. They're going to focus on this thing, and they're not going to think about me and the games that I want from them.
I think we're thinking too black and white on what quality of life is. I think that whatever it is will be gamified, and it will integrate with the 3DS or the Wii U.
I think it's a bigger audience they're going for.
I don't know. I think
we'll buy it because we're enthusiasts. Right?
I think it's something that will be standalone, but will also interface with your phone, your 3DS, and your Wii U, and all your existing devices. I think if a kid has a 3DS and he doesn't have an iPhone, this new thing will work with it. If a kid has a Wii U and doesn't have an iPhone, if somebody only has an iPhone and not a 3DS, maybe that'll incentivize them to do that.
Well, my other reason for not agreeing with you on quality of life being there is that I just think it's too soon. I think they need to focus on showing people why their platform is relevant, and I think that the message has to be focused on that right now because on the Wii U front, there's a software drought, and on the 3DS front, I hate to say this out loud, but you notice there's not as many third-party games on 3DS as there were on DS at this point, too. Like, some folks talk about the comparison between sales of DS to 3DS and how that's different. And granted, whatever. 3DS was the best-selling platform of last year, hands down, across everything, right? Microsoft, Sony, it didn't matter. But where are the third-party games? Like, I feel like that has just slowly just dropped.
Yeah. I think even last year we had a sizable demo reel of third-party games that were coming to the 3DS, and that's just not really the case anymore.
That is definitely the impact of the mobile market and specifically tablets, right? I mean, you can say what you want about 3DS not competing with an iPhone or an Android, phone, but tablets is a different story.
Yeah. And those things play games.
Yeah. I think we're a Nintendo-focused podcast. We're a video game-focused company.
Of course.
But I do think that they are getting pressure outside of those realms, and I think that E3 is all eyes on them, and there might be some more room for here's our new iPhone apps, here's our new, and no one wants to hear it, right? It's the elephant in the room. Nobody wants to talk about it. But I think that they will hit everything for core gamers. Everything will be fine.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll do some developments with some third party stuff, but I do think this is their year for their shareholders to sort of be like, we're also doing this on iPhones. Maybe it might not be full-fledged Mario games. Relax.
I think the app has a better chance of showing up, by the way. I agree with you on that front.
I think apps are going to be part of every presentation. I don't think, the pressure you heard on Nintendo about, branching out into mobile and them, like their response, which is not quite that, right? I think you're going to hear that from Microsoft and Sony as well. I think, everybody is going to embrace the mobile platforms in a bigger way to paint more of a picture that they're a company that is fortified against the ups and downs of the console business too.
No, but I mean, I think Sony and Microsoft already have. You have the PlayStation app on iOS and on Android. You have, or I hope it's on
more.
Android.
I think there's more coming.
I think Xbox Smart Glass. I feel like every game, Watch Dogs has an app that you can mess around with people, and like that'll there will be more games that continue to use this second screen and try to find ways to.
Watch Dogs has an app that has been downloaded 1 million times to the 4 million people who bought it, which is an insane attach rate. I mean, this is where gaming is going, like it or not.
And I think that's where Sony and Microsoft provided the platforms to do that, and you could argue Nintendo did too. I mean, Uplay, you could have applications that work directly with Uplay. It's a little harder to sign up an account for Wii U, it was kind of botched. But no, I do think that the first parties are going to talk more about mobile. Sony, Microsoft specifically about their applications and not just support applications for the consoles. And I think Nintendo has to do that too.
Okay, so let's then we've talked a little bit about this, but let's talk about software. So I think on the software front, outside of whatever first-party stuff is being published, I spent some time looking at some OD3s recently because we were going to try and approach the topic of how did Nintendo manage to keep people interested during the GameCube era, where it was a very similar ship that they were sort of in control of, right? Where compared to the other two, they were sort of lagging behind. And it wasn't a tech problem. It was more just that Nintendo wasn't going where the industry was going, where the industry was embracing online and where the industry, had this standardized controller. Nintendo was kind of challenging that and sort of, I don't want to say they were only taking care of themselves, but they were clearly, their interests were vested in their first-party software versus, any of the relationships that I felt they were trying to build up and really get great software out of. But there were a couple of unique things that came out of the GameCube era, like certain exclusive agreements. Or even like, look at something like second party, publishing, and how like they had that deal with N-Space, I think was the developer, and they made a game called Geist, which was a first-person shooter for the GameCube. It was just a way to kind of keep folks, interested. So I think this C3 we're going to see that. I think we may see a repeat of that. Definitely.
Really?
I think so.
I completely disagree.
Okay.
I love you, Jose, but I think that they are chasing ghosts to try to replicate the success of console first-person shooters on Nintendo hardware. People do not associate Nintendo hardware with playing games like that.
I still think they'll try, though. I mean,
look
at Bayonetta.
I don't think they will. Right? I think that they'll focus on stuff like their big successes have been games like Brain Age, right? I think that we're going to see more in line of not just Brain Age technically, but I think things that appeal to people ages 6 to 96.
Okay, so the only two things that challenge your point a little bit are Bayonetta 2, what he said, Hyrule Warriors. Another example of just like an out there sort of arrangement, right, with another developer.
Yeah, and I feel like those are their attempts specifically to get that other market, right? The market you're talking about, they nailed with Wii, they nailed to a certain extent with a DS before as well, and then they figured out over time, it's like, man, it's really hard to get that audience to keep buying software. They buy your hardware, they play it, maybe a lot even, and passionately, and then they drop off, and they may not use your device for games again. And so I think they feel that they need that basis of the core gamers who are supplying the kind of who have the highest attach rates and buy software.
Sure, but I feel like Bayonetta and Hyrule Warriors are both chasing the same sort of like. I mean, let's put it bluntly. Those games are both very Japanese. Like those are not Americanized. Those are not the games that sell millions of copies here in America or in
you don't have as many successes from Japan.
Right. So
as you did at one point.
Whereas you're sort of saying like Geist was kind of their first-person shooter, their Call of Duty or whatever it was.
Not really, though.
That
was more niche. I see it more niche like Bayonetta, right? It's a core gamer who really cares, like Mad World, like those kinds of games.
Yeah,
right?
But I mean, this is like, are we going to do the same dance for like the 8th time in a row where Nintendo goes, we're going to try to get the money from all the people who are buying Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty every year? Or will Nintendo finally go, those people don't ever want to play those things on Nintendo consoles?
No, I think they're going to try again.
I don't. I think they're going to let go of that. I think they're going to stick with the quirky, crazy Japanese stuff, see what sticks. Occasionally, it's going to sell incredibly well for them.
I think their track record so far is that they're going to try. I think with stuff like Bayonetta and I think with stuff like Hyrule Warriors, I think you will see some sort of arrangement that way. And I'm not saying it's a huge focus for them, but I am saying that it is a unique way to get an exclusive on their platform, in some cases involving even their most beloved properties, like with Hyrule Warriors, right? I mean, what's the next Hyrule Warriors? What's the next? Will that happen to Mario? Will that happen to Metroid?
The next Hyrule Warriors is
what I mean?
Skylanders Mario. That's the next one. Like it's not Mario of Duty. It's not Luigi's Creed. It's not these things. Like these things do not. I mean, what is the incentive of a company like Ubisoft or Activision to take their efforts off of one of their like hardcore properties that they sell so well on the other two consoles and PCs and use those efforts on the Wii U.
Okay, your position is definitely well put out there, and I think even though we all we seem to disagree, I totally respect your opinion, man, and I think we're going to see what happens out there.
And I do want to say that like that's not me being down on them. Like
no, you aren't.
I actually kind of
you're the voice of reason on the show a lot of times.
Like if when my fiance said, "Honey, stop trying to make the bed. You're terrible at it." Yeah, she goes, so "Honey, stop trying to make the bed. You're terrible at it. I never want you to make the bed again. I'm going to do that forever." So now I'm just like, all right, cool. I'm going to go in the kitchen and cook because I'm good at that. Like, Nintendo needs to stop trying to do the things that they can't do and focus on the things they do great.
All right, Chef Boyardee. So next, first party, software. What are we talking about here? So what's on the books, right? Hyrule Warriors, Bayonetta. Hang on, I got a list.
So I have an opinion. First of all,
Smash. I'm just going to go down the list of what's on the books. Bayonetta, Hyrule Warriors, Smash Wii U, Smash 3DS. Potentially whatever codename NFP is, which we don't know if that's tied to a specific... It should be tied to a specific game. We expect it to be tied to a specific game, but it's going to also tie into other games. There's also that rumor, the French guy... Remember the Nintendo France guy who said, it's going to work with...
Smash Brothers.
NFP, Smash Brothers, yeah. There's a mystery 3DS game. Yarn Yoshi's still on the books. Project X is still on the books.
Yep.
Shin Megami Cross Fire Emblem is still on the books.
Yep.
I think that's everything.
I think a little bit of all those games is going to show.
Yeah.
So here's what I think the three big things are. And pardon me, but I think Zelda is going to show. I think that's the big one.
The Aonuma Zelda.
It's going to show, but I
think
think it is a very slim trailer-focused presentation, and I think they will go deep with Hyrule Warriors instead. I have a hard time believing that they're going to go deep on both games.
No, I don't think they'll go deep on both, but I think that whatever video we see, whatever trailer we see of Zelda will be in-game assets. It'll be Twilight Princess style, get everyone stupid hype, and like put the Conan music back on that, please. By the way,
but I don't think. I think they're trying to replicate that woo feeling everybody got when they saw the Twilight Princess trailer or the Ocarina of Time trailer and all that, right? But I don't think that they will do a 40-minute demo or playable of Zelda.
No, I don't think so either.
Hyrule Warriors is going to be the playable Zelda franchise game. Then I think the big unveil for them is going to be Animal Crossing Wii U. And I do think that's going to work with the figurines. Like, that to me is a centerpiece for their whole, like, why do you need a gamepad? Look at all this unique stuff you can do in Animal Crossing that you couldn't do on any other console with the touchscreen, with the scanning of the figurines, all that. To me, that's the big center point.
That's really smart.
I would challenge that a little only because I do think Animal Crossing has a big appeal because that franchise casts a wide net, but is it up there with the Marios and the Zeldas?
It's not. But
I almost feel like that's a little risky on their part. If that were it for NFP, if it was just here's Isabelle and Tom Nook and all the what are the figurines you're talking here? I'm assuming that's what you meant.
No, I mean, if crappy Ice Dragon can sell 8 billion copies on Skylanders, I mean, no one knows who that guy is.
Derivative
right?
Ice Dragon number 6.
Derivative Lava Monster and Rock Golem. Those things sell like crazy for like $13 each. I think Isabelle will sell fine.
Yeah, but think about.
I mean, what would the NFP? Oh well, whatever. Fine. I'm just like, what do you get a couch with Isabelle? Like, I don't understand. Like, I'm trying to figure out what it would be. You know, like that's where I'm at.
They have said that they want their characters to be multi-platform, right? You
with a couch from
IKEA.
But
hold on. Like if you,
brought to you by Mercedes.
But if you have a Mario character, that doesn't mean that a character unlocks a character, right?
No.
Let's not get hung up on that.
No,
that's how
right.
Skylanders works, right? Or Disney Infinity. What Mario could unlock in Animal Crossing is a Mario-themed room with all these things, and you could save something on it, give it to your friend. Like I think there are a lot of questions about how they're going to use it. I don't think they're just going to crib Disney and Activision.
No, and I don't. I mean, when I say in terms of the characters and the toys and the manufacturing involved, like I look at it more from their position right now and how they've been talking about this is, hey, this is going to work across multiple games. So the Mario thing sounds feasible, but at the same time, I don't for a second believe that it's just going to unlock a character in a game. I think there has to be something special, something cool, data that transfers back and forth, stuff that I can give to Brian if I take a figure to his house, although that could get a little weird.
Jose,
how many figures to your house?
How many things have Nintendo made that they said would work across multiple games?
Yeah, and that haven't.
That didn't, but worked well that one time.
The vitality sensor. Actually, I have no idea.
Yeah, I wish.
Like the thumb
strap.
What
have they said has worked across multiple games?
Like the thumb strap. There's one.
What thumb strap? The one for the original DS?
That shipped with the original DS.
Yeah, but that's because they came around, man.
The N64 memory pack was really limited in
I mean, they put out
DK.
there was the ER reader, like there was like
AR reader,
only watches the ER episode.
The card reader. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I love what they do. They take crazy risks, but
I don't think any of those were really ever positioned as it works across.
The camera, the Game Boy camera.
And it worked in Zelda, but then it didn't work.
I guess the AR cards is the only one where I feel like that applied, where they were like, this would work across multiple games, and they didn't develop that out. But it was also really strange. It was this big thing you had to carry everywhere, whereas your gamepad's not leaving your house.
Right now, the GameCube Wii U adapter works with one thing that we know about. I mean, this is what Nintendo does.
You're supposed to be excited about that.
I am excited about it. Well, this is okay, first of all, I'm trying to be real. I'm not trying to be negative. I love that. Yeah. Everybody listens to the show and they go, Brian's being so negative. I'm not. I love Nintendo. I'm just trying to bring the reality down.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Just because they're saying it's going to work doesn't mean that it's going to happen, right? But if they get this game out, it's a hit, the figurines are a hit, then they probably will include it. Yeah, Mario Party is the easiest one, right? Smash Brothers would make sense in some fashion. Other Mario games could be. If it's about collecting figurines and stuff and unlocking stuff. Like, what if Animal Crossing was like classic Animal Crossing where Mario unlocked the Mario game, the NES game in your house, right? Like, there are all these ideas they could be using. I don't think they're going to do it because they love money. And well, no, actually, you're paying for the figurine, so maybe that's a good trade for the Virtual Console dollars.
There we go.
So I think Animal Crossing, I do think it's going to be a center point. And no, we're all hoping for Zelda, Metroid, Mario. I just feel like that. Like I'd said this before, I'm like, maybe they're going to try it again, but the more I think about it, I just feel like it's unrealistic that they have that much at this particular show.
Yeah. Well, your theory is really good, too, because if you remember, the Animal Crossing Plaza will stop in 2014. So if it is Animal Crossing, it is a 2015 game. Right?
Yep.
Like, it has to be.
Yeah, for sure.
There's no way you're going to have both of those
I have a weird
things
prediction.
There.
This is kind of off the grid, but I think that this is going to be the E3 where we see, speaking of partnerships with Japanese companies.
Is there a joke there somewhere?
Yeah, sorry. You get two gamepads and hold them up like glasses, and they just put googly eyes. It's $150.
I need that Photoshop. We need a Photoshop image of Brian with Wii U gamepad glasses, please. Thank you.
We need more Photoshops just in general. Send them to nvc@ign.com.
I think we're going to see a Nintendo and Capcom partnered and created Mega Man game.
Wow.
I think that's going to be a weird land grab.
Don't play with my emotions,
that's a franchise that's just sitting there. The most excited anyone's been about it was last year when we saw Mega Man and Smash. We saw his final Smash.
Last year. It was a couple months ago.
No, when Mega Man
he was announced. I think when they showed his final Smash, they also kickstarted that wave again.
Of course.
Sorry. I thought
and there's excitement for that franchise, but Capcom's not doing anything with it, and I think it's like it. This is this is Brian Altano, age 5 right now, being like, I want my favorite companies to come together and make. But it's just sitting there. People love Mega Man. Mega Man's in Smash now. Smash is a good opportunity to kind of drum up some excitement for franchises again. I think they did it for Earthbound. I think they did it for Kid Icarus.
And they're definitely doing it for Smash Bros.
Sonic benefited from the inclusion. Yeah. I think that's actually a pretty smart prediction because that's a character where Capcom didn't know what to do with, right? Like, they've worked on games before, and the internet is full of pictures of canceled Mega Man games.
Yeah,
this is the perfect revival.
Yeah, Mega Man Legends 3.
I like it.
I also have a prediction that Smash Brothers is going to be called New Super Smash Brothers.
That's terrible.
Well,
I think it's actually
go to hell.
It's called Super Smash Brothers for Wii U.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're keeping.
I think those names are.
Are they doing the iPad thing?
One of our product guys stopped me and said, "Do you think they're going to reveal the final names for those two things at E3?" And I'm like, "I think those are the names."
Yeah, I think so too.
Now I'm going with New Super Smash.
No, get out now. All right,
I have one more.
Good. All right, go.
The secret 3DS game. I think is Advance Wars.
Really?
Yeah.
You would think that.
Yeah, it is. It has to be.
Advance Wars needs 90 minutes?
Huh?
Advance Wars needs 90 minutes?
I don't think it's 90 minutes. I think there's other stuff in it. I'm just thinking about what game can you do a sit down and do an interview with all these folks for that long? It can't be a turnkey simple game. It can't be something like a Pushmo or puzzle game, right?
Yeah.
Like, people are going to just fall over and fall asleep.
You're just thinking it's 90 minutes because it takes 90 minutes to finish one match.
That's right. No, it's like it is more complicated. Like a strategy game like that, like a Fire Emblem Advance Wars, is more complicated.
Yeah.
We haven't heard from that team in a while, about a game like that.
And I mean, Fire Emblem was a success, right? So clearly strategy is not dead, right? Strategy RPG, for the most part, is kind of like, on console especially, folks don't want to touch it because they're like, nope, unless XCOM was a huge success on that front. But you don't see strategy RPG really do that well. And last year we had XCOM did really well, and so did Fire Emblem. So maybe it is Advance Wars.
Interesting.
It's franchise care, too. It's been so long since they've shown one, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, as far as, taking care of the characters, grooming characters for future Smash Brothers installments, all that kind of stuff goes, I feel like Advance Wars is like the one game that was popular enough to get sequels and be included, and like they haven't talked about it in such a long time.
I feel like they would have played up the Wii U release a little more recently, the port of the Game Boy Advance version. But then again, maybe they didn't, and maybe you're right. I don't think it's a bad idea or a bad guess. I mean, I think I would actually be very excited for it personally.
I just want it to be true.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
Yeah, I really don't know what they're going to... I mean, 9 minutes.
I wish one of the things... I mean, this is not something I think would happen, but I wish one of the things would be if, Wind Waker HD was a win for a lot of us, right? We were all just enchanted by that game again when it came out. I think it's pull out a Mario HD collection of some type. Pull out a Mario game from either Sunshine or Galaxy, and we talked about this on the show before, but pull one of those out, man. Like, it cannot be that hard for someone to port that thing and make it and put it on Wii U. You did it with Zelda, and again, the assets were kind of in a good shape. They were timeless. You went with cel-shaded art style, so maybe the work wasn't that extensive. They even said it took them like 6 months. I'm like, yo, what's up? Sunshine, Galaxy, give me something.
64. Give me
HD.
Mario 64.
That would be a lot more work.
Really?
I think if they were to do that, that would take a lot more TLC to do right.
Wind Waker was a success, so I don't think it's a if. I think they're going to announce more reboots like that, but they have to be careful that they don't make it seem like the Wii U is just home to old games, right?
Yeah.
But like, back to the 3DS game, the secret 3DS game. I mean, if it's not Advance Wars, what do you guys think it is? Is it Metroid 3DS?
I don't think it's
That
Metroid.
would warrant a big discussion. Is it Majora's Mask reboot 3DS? Right?
That's my guess.
To me, it's got to be one of those three.
That would be my biggest guess, and it's showing how they've retooled that game to make it work on a handheld.
I mean, that's a cool presentation. I'd love to be there for that, but I don't think it's that either.
Really?
I think
that has to be happening.
But the Majora's Mask remake is in such a weird place right now.
Why?
Okay, let's rewind to New York Comic Con, where a fan stood up and asked Aonuma, "What's up with that? I would love a Majora's Mask remake." The whole room erupted. So happy about it. And his answer to that boy was, finish A Link Between Worlds and you may have your answer. You know what we got at the end of A Link Between Worlds? Nothing related to Majora's Mask. By that answer, there is no Majora's Mask remake, and I've been wanting it for a while.
There's a mask on the wall in the house.
And you can't take it off the wall. You can pose there for pictures. It's practical. I don't want to accuse Aonuma of being a troll. I love the guy,
but we don't know what he meant, right? Like, it's tough.
We don't know what he meant. You heard what he said.
But in his mind, maybe
you just went so hood on him. What do you mean we don't know what he meant?
Rap. No, I mean, you don't know what he was thinking. In his mind, he could have been thinking, hey, we have all these hints in Link Between Worlds, to Majora's Mask. You don't know that. You don't know that.
I don't know that, and I'm not trying to get worked up over it, but I think an answer like that, and even posting that on Facebook, just got me like, okay, there has to be something near the end. And I remember I let the end credits and the last screen of that game run for like 20 minutes, hoping a friggin' bird or something would pass by with a mask on it. Just give me some hope. Nothing. I have not heard anything. So I hate to be cynical about it because I'm not a cynical guy, and I definitely want that game. I just don't really believe it exists.
Yeah, and
so that's why I don't think it's.
To go with what we were saying, I don't think I totally agree with you, Per. I don't want like a Majora's Mask remake and a Galaxy remake and a whole bunch of remakes. I don't want most of the focus of the show to just be like, remember those old things we used to do? That being said, I would love to give Majora's Mask another shot because it's not my favorite Zelda, and I would absolutely love to play.
You have been wrong for years.
No, you made a mistake.
I'm trying to be nice here.
No, good. We're being nice too because you're so wrong.
We have been nice by tolerating your opinion on it, and it's been wrong the entire time.